start with our invocation by Reverend Alfredo Benavides with Stonegate Baptist Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us stand, please. And I want to tell you that I'm very blessed and honored to be here this afternoon to pray and intercede for you. So let's bow our heads and close our eyes. Our Father in heaven, in the name of Jesus, Father, we want to thank you tonight and praise you and honor you and just worship you. Thank you, Lord, for choosing these people to serve as public servants in this city. And Father, we just lift them up to you that you will guide them with your Holy Spirit, that every decision that is made under your guidance to honor you, first of all, and to benefit the city. And we also pray for all our first responders, the policemen in Alice, the sheriff department, the fire department, and medics and doctors and nurses. We ask that you bless them, Lord God, and supply all their needs according to your riches and glory. And Father, we pray that you bless our city. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
So we all face the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on to agenda item number 2, citizen comments and public announcements. Any citizen who has a request for city services or other items of concern which cannot be approved or otherwise resolved by the city manager may choose to address the council. Citizens who wish to address the city council about items on the agenda will have 3 minutes to express their position. Please indicate agenda item number on which you wish to comment. All presentations and discussions should be directed to the city council and all questions to the mayor. Any complaints and/or discussion about individuals, personnel, council members, city staff, or other persons would be out of order and will not be heard by the city council at this time. Charges or complaints about specific individuals shall be presented in writing to the city manager. All complaints of this nature must be signed and dated by the individual filing the complaint and will be addressed pursuant to Alice personnel policies. Please approach the speaker's stand, state your full name and address when you begin your remarks so that the official minutes will record your appearance before the city council. If you have written notes you wish to present to the mayor and council, please furnish an extra copy to the city clerk for the official files. Please direct your comments to the mayor and council. Although council cannot take specific action on citizens' comments, topics due to legal requirements, they will hear the topic and council may have the item placed on a future agenda for action or refer the item to a board, commission, or committee, or refer the item to staff for study or conclusion. Thank you for your cooperation. And at this time, we will have Miss Lily Cash.
Good evening. My name is Lily Cash, and I reside at 274 County Road 138 here in Alice, Texas. And thank you so much for your service to our community. I'm hoping to become a little more involved in the community myself. And the reason that I'm here is agenda item number 2 for announcements. It's kind of a save the date, April the 8th, 2018, 1 to 5. That's a week after Easter Sunday. And it is a rally for families. We don't have a name, an official name, but a group of people that are involved in ministries and in the community are coming together to help our community, because we realize that there's only so much you can do. And so we're hoping to come together as a positive group to help those that are in need, and certainly encouraging families to be united and families to come together and to work together with respect for the law, with respect for community leaders and community members, but not only our communities, but our government as a whole. So once again, our purpose is to bring healing and hope to our community. One of the words that kind of stands out in my mind is, hold on, help is on the way. And that's our hope, is to be a help to our community, and hopefully to help you all as well in the law enforcement and in community leadership. So once again, save the date, April the 8th, 2018, 1 to 5. Hopefully you all will come and join us and be a part of it. So thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Ms. Cash. Okay, at this time there are no other citizens. So we'll go on to announcements. Ms. Carrasco, you have any announcements? Mr. Burke.
Yes, I just wanted to announce that the Alice High School Junior Police Academy will be holding its third annual Easter egg hunt on Friday, March 30th at 10 o'clock at Veterans Park. And this is their third year, and it's growing, it's been successful. The age groups are 2 to 10. There'll be prizes, treats, and the Easter Bunny will make appearance.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. Mr. Chris?
Yes, real quick. On top of that, just so that parents are aware, and to tack onto the end of Mr. Burke's is that the age groups are actually separated so the kids can actually have a better chance of winning some prizes and having a good time at this event. It's a great event. Let's get out and enjoy what the Alice Junior Police Academy has to offer. Coupled along with that, for spring break, let's not forget, just to make this citizens aware, if they are not already, at the multi-use complex, the natatorium, the pool section of that facility is open for spring break from 12 till 8 p.m. every day this week. So get out and enjoy what we have to offer as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chris. Mr. Molina? Okay. And I would just like to take the opportunity to thank our new interim city manager, Mr. Michael Esparza, for joining our team, and we look forward to some great things.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Agenda item number 3, hear and discuss status report from interim city manager concerning pending and prospective projects and general operations.
Thank you, Mayor. Before I get started on this agenda item, we used a standard language for this agenda item, so it says here and discuss status report, but I do want to say this is an informational item only. I do want to caution council and mayor on discussions or even questions on any of these things that I'm going to go through, because simply, we don't want to be violating open meetings or any posting requirements. And since some of there's a couple of them that are agenda items, and we can talk about it then, but most of them are not. And so this will just be information on what we're working on and some of the other things as far as projects and some of the other things that I've been working on also this past week. So I do want to go over we're working on a landfill self-audit, and so that's almost complete. That'll be sent out to the to TCEQ on Friday. We also have been working on the levy recertification. There are several meetings that have been going on. So these kind of things are probably going to be on the next couple of agendas in the next couple of meetings. Something that is on the agenda, we're going to be working on a alternate payment plan for the sales tax refund that we'll be talking about, I think, on item 4 or 5. Seal coating, which y'all approved a while back, is going to begin pretty soon and hopefully be completed by the end of April. The TxDOT water line extension, we had some funding options that we were looking at, but I think we got that clarified, and so that is part of that extension is on the agenda, but not about funding, but we've been working on those issues. We are going to be working on mapping water breaks and sewer backups. We need to come up with a plan of action for these improvements, and so I'm working on a plan for that. I need to get engineering involved and Public Works, so we can find out where we're having the water breaks, and the majority of the time we're having sewer backups, and start working on fixing those things. And so that's kind of something new that we're going to be working on. Collective bargaining with the associations will come up in a couple of months, somewhere between April and maybe toward the end of May. We are going to update and clarify and correct some of the airport leases that we have that need to be looked at again, mainly for kind of to comply the way that they were in the past. There were some revisions done at times, and I think that needs to come up for approval on the council's end. Streamlining, I'm working on streamlining some processes for the minutes. I know that at times it's taken a while to get them up and to you guys for approval, but we've already begun a streamlining process for that, and also trying to streamline public information requests. We need to get those in and out, and so those are things that we're working on. We've been pretty busy the last week getting things kind of up to speed. Procurements and some bidding that doesn't fall outside of the doesn't fall into the realm of the city council. if it's within our authority to approve, and I do want to, and I have a pilot program that's going to be put into effect pretty quick to work on the procurement process and bidding process that is with the administration, so we can have it on Channel 5, so people can know and the public can know, and any businesses, if there's a project or a service that they may be able to bid on that's not going to come up here, we still want them to know and know when it's going to be bid out, and if they want to bid on it, when they can, and also when they get opened, have it here and on Channel 5. So that's something that we've been working on since day one, and we will have a pilot program out fairly quickly on that. Another thing that is important, of course, to the council and to our community is economic development. I'm working with the Texas Workforce Solutions and with the port as well to try to have a job fair here. There are jobs in other counties that are about 45 minutes away. If we can get those folks to come know that we have people here that need jobs, and we'll do what we can as a city to accommodate them to be able to have their presence here. Let them know that, we've been hurt, our economy's, down, and there are jobs out there, and we do have people that need to be employed. We have good workers in town. The last thing is on efficiencies. There are some things that we've been working on, and Diana and I have been working on it real close, our city clerk. There's things, communication sometimes within departments. We have department meetings once a week, director meetings, but there's sometimes a disconnect on information going back and forth. And so we're going to work on a process to try to clean that up and avoid any bottlenecks. And so those are just kind of models that cities, we find models that other cities use or business use to try to make this place a better place for our employees as well, and make sure there's communication with our citizens and communication with the council. Those are kind of, it's a little short list of what we've been doing kind of the past week. And that's all I have on that agenda, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Agenda item number 4, discuss letter from Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts dated February 23rd of 2018, received by the City of Alice on February 28th, 2018, regarding overpayment of local tax sales and use taxes.
This agenda item, Mayor, this letter came to us. This is the third time in the past years. We had one of these come to us in 2004, another one in 2015, and then this one now. What this is a taxpayer overpaid sales tax, and to the tune of $377,000. And now it's a lot of money when you think about the total number of taxes overpaid. Given the 8.25%, it adds up to a lot, and our portion is actually a small portion of that. But so this taxpayer asked for they did an audit, and they submitted a request to the Comptroller of Public Accounts, Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts, and they're getting this money back, and I believe it stems from 2014 to 2017 is when
2014 to 2011.
to 2011 to 2014. Okay. And so this is money that we have to pay back. It wasn't owed to us. It was accidentally, in a sense, paid to us because of that, and so it's not our money. And it's $377,000. They're asking for it either a one-time check, a monthly collections deducted from our sales tax revenue that comes in, or 42 payments. Roland, John, our Director of Finance, our City Attorney, and our City Clerk, and I, and also our State Representative is involved in this as well. We're trying to get different terms. I did speak to them today, and they didn't commit to agreeing to it, but they said that we could ask for up to 84 months, and that would help because that would cut that payment in half. I'd like to see if they could waive some of it. In a sense, they were probably collecting interest on that money anyway. So We're waiting to hear back from our state representative, James Lozano, if he can be of any help. But at worst, we'll have a little bit more time than 42 months to pay for it. They know that it's not budgeted, so they'll allow us to start this repayment plan in the next fiscal year. But to let the public know also is this is on top of one that happened in 2015 that was a little bit different. That was taxes that were rendered in the city of Alice for some type of oil field sales. And when they did an audit, the company that was filing those taxes, it was supposed to be at one of their other locations. And that equated to 1.2 million, and that was in 2015. So we're paying $12,000 a month right now, deducting that from our sales tax check. So in my request to them, I'm gonna let them know about, they know about it, but I'm gonna let them know that that's hurting us. That's a lot of money for a small city like us. And hopefully we can get something done to lessen that monthly burden on us. But Roland, do you have anything to add to that? Did you wanna, or is that pretty much it?
Pretty much.
I know I'd spoken to Councilman Crisp, more or less how this works from the oil field side. And in like 2 seconds, he had some numbers about, what the dollar amount was of these sales, and he backworked that. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so just to put it in perspective, basically, a big oil field company will come in and they will have people who show up at their office and say, hey, let me go through your numbers, anything I can save you, pay me a portion of. So what happened is when this auditor went through, they found about almost $19 million worth of probably services paid to a local vendor that should have been tax-free, that they actually paid taxes on. And what that equates to is, like I said, it was just under 19 million. It turns out to $1.5 million in total taxes that they're asking for back. And out of that, we only have 2 cents, which equates to the 377,000 that they're asking for. But it's very common practice, especially when times get hard for some of these oilfield service companies. I mean, not oilfield. It's really not oilfield service. It's really going to be your bigger oilfield companies when you think about $18 million to vendors within one small region during what is a small period of time. But they come in and they do an audit, and essentially we're being punished for them paying in advance what they certify that they should be paying, and then later on they go back and run an audit and say, well, we should have never paid that, and they ask for it back, and here we are having to reimburse monies that we were given, that we set our budget on, and have to move forward. So.
Well, and one thing that when our budget time comes around, we are budgeting the $12,000 a month or so, and we are going to have to budget at least another almost $9,000, and if they do lower that to another to $4,000, then 4,500 or so, we'll be okay. But I think that we need I think more of these may come.
Yeah.
And so I think we need a budget more than we're spending on here, so we can have that money if it'll be in fund and balance, but we need to know that part of that is earmarked for when the next one comes in.
Yeah, because they stopped this one in September of 14.
Mhm.
So there's still services moving forward that are probably continuing to be audited. And with the oil field crunch as it was, I don't see such a big number coming forward from this one particular vendor, but I do see that they could potentially come and hit us again. And just to kind of drag things out, the 12,000 plus that we're already paying is just under $150,000 that we reimburse the estate a year. This almost 9,000 adds up to another 108,000, so we'd be paying $250-something thousand for the next basically 4 years, and then we have to go back to the 147 in 4 years for about a year after that. So this is a big hit to get out of the blue. This is nothing that the city is responsible for. There's no way to predict and see these coming. This is completely out of the city's control. Finance department, management, nobody knows until that letter shows up at your doorstep. So. Oh, and that savings is only like $7,500 if we pay it all up front.
Right, yeah.
So it doesn't really benefit the city to save 2% and $7,500 because we don't have the $7,500 to begin with. So.
Council, do y'all have any questions? Mr. Molina?
None.
Mr. Burks?
No.
Ms. Gaskell? Okay, okay. Thank you. Agenda item number 5. Hear presentation from the Alice Police Department regarding 2017 crime statistics.
Mayor, Council. I'm going to present the status of the 2017 statistics that were done. The following are the numbers of felony and misdemeanor cases that were reported to the Alice Police Department for the dates January 1st, 2017 to December 31st, 2017. These cases are assigned to the Criminal Investigation Division. 2236 cases were assigned to the Criminal Investigation Division. Close to the District Attorney's Office were 258 cases. Close to the County Attorney's Office was 424 cases. Close to the Juvenile Probation Department were 72. Close to Municipal Court were 109. Closed by exceptional means were 85. Closed to unfounded were 67, a total of 1,015 cases. 1,008 cases were investigated until efforts failed to develop a lead or evidence. 213 cases are still under investigation. That's for CID. Any questions, Council, on that?
So we're closing about 50%?
A little over, Mayor. I think we estimated about 72 around there. With right now with three investigators, plus Lieutenant Lieutenant Jaramillo helping the CID. In my, they're doing a good job. You know.
So can you tell us, like, felony and misdemeanor, what falls under those categories?
Yes, ma'am. Under the felonies, it's a murder, which we haven't had. Anything any narcotics found being of a gram of cocaine or above. I know we're getting hit with the synthetic dope. That's a felony, depending on the amount that is caught. Sexual assault of a child, sexual assault period with aggravated assault with a weapon, aggravated assault with the family violence, burglary of a building. I have a habitation. We had 139 of those last year. Burglary of habitation with intent to commit a felony. We had 11. Burglary of vehicles is a Class B misdemeanor that usually goes to the county attorney. There were 150 of those last year. Theft of property over 100, under 750. There were 186 of those. That goes to the county attorney's office with Mr. Guerra. Unauthorized use of motor vehicles, we had 43 of those. We had thefts under 100. There were 273 of those, and those usually are handled by municipal court with Judge Lemon. We have possession of marijuana under 2 ounces that usually goes to the county attorney's office. We had 90 of those. We had possession of a controlled substance, PG1, which usually contains cocaine or heroin. We had 32 of those. Resisting arrest, that's usually a Class B, Class A. We had 56 of those. Evading arrest, We had 33, that usually goes to the county attorney's office. That's just, we had 63 DWI cases that those are usually go to the county attorney's office. Although if a person has 2 or more, that the status changes. It might go to the DA, it might stay with the county attorney's office.
Where can those numbers be found, Chief? Because
I-
it seems like,
I have them here. I have them here. I do have from our computer, okay, and the crimes that happened in Alice, there was a total of 9,720. It ranges from abandoned vehicle, failed to maintain it. The thing is that they're not in alphabetical order, and but I can give you a copy of this of the sheet.
that'd be great. So we arrested, is this correct on your packet? Narcotics Division stats, we have 38 arrests were made?
Well, I'm gonna get to that one
Okay.
with the narcotics information that I have here.
Okay.
So,
Go ahead, Mr. Chris.
yeah, so real quick, it looks like roughly 50%, you said a little over. Do we have any idea of the national average? I did a little research myself, but I'm not 100% sure that my resources are there. The national average on case closures?
You know, I did some too, and it varies, right? On like, for example, murder was at 62%, and the robberies were at 28%. Vehicle theft was 11%. So I guess it varies from state to state, I guess, you know. But that's from the Unified Crime reporting that they do. Now, not every crime that is reported is solved. I wish it was, but it's not.
Right. Yeah, I saw somewhere along the lines of about 49 to 62%, and then I saw that in 2016 it was case closures were about 3.1 per day, and I think we're at about 2.7, 2.8 per day. So pretty much on track there. It just you know, you always want to see that number a lot higher, but unfortunately, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I was just wondering if you had that national statistic there. So.
Okay, Chief, you can proceed.
I'm gonna now go to the narcotic report, and in 2017 was a successful year for the City of Alice Narcotic Division, working alongside Duval Sheriff's Department, and the recent with the Jim Wells County Department has made a hard impact in the communities of drug distribution network. The Narcotics Division, consisting of 1 lieutenant in command of the division, 2 full-time investigators, and 1-time interdiction officer. The following are the stats performed by these officers in the City of Alice, along with the expense used to perform the duties. Money used for narcotic investigations. $3,000 was given from to Alice Narcotic by the Duval Narcotic Investigations. $7,400 was given to the Alice PD Narcotics by the City of Alice Narcotic Investigations. Narcotic investigations, 78 investigations were done, consisting of the following: 30 controlled narcotic purchases, 37 raids, 2 knock and talk searches, 3 by bus narcotic seizures by the means of a traffic stop, 5 surveillance traffic stops resulting in narcotic seizures, 1 controlled currency seizure, 382 documented traffic stops were conducted by the interdiction officer. Money seized, $210,175,000. $9,685 was seized during a narcotic search warrant executed in the City of Alice. $142,000 was seized by the interdiction officer by means of traffic stops. $58,490 was seized in controlled currency seize investigation. Vehicles seized or recovered. 5 vehicles were seized during narcotic search warrants executed in the city of Alice. 2 vehicles were seized by the interdiction officer by means of traffic stop. 1 stolen vehicle was recovered by the interdiction officer by means of a traffic stop. Arrest. 38 arrests were made by the Alice Police PD Narcotic Division. Guns seized. 8 were seized during search warrants executed in the city of Alice. During the seizure of the city of Alice PD Narcotic Division, 3,111.8 grams of marijuana, 126.8 grams of synthetic marijuana, 129.7 grams of cocaine, 67.6 grams of heroin, amphetamines, hydrocodone, and 3.4 grams of methadone. The above seizures all took place in the city of Alice within the exception of the interdiction officer statistics. It is important to know that these officers also work heavily in the neighborhoods, counties, Duval and Brooks, as well as assisting in Jim Wells County. The work of these officers performed with other agencies are reflected in this stat sheet.
So the Duval County, do we have an interlocal agreement with them?
Ma'am, as we spoke about it just today, it's in the works. The attorney, the city attorney, is already is preparing it. In Jim Wells County, they're I got a call from County Attorney Guerra, and he's doing other work, but he's gonna try to have it ready by this week. And if I stand correctly, the city attorney said that those other 2 agreements, the MOUs, should be done by this week.
Mayor, that we've got interlocals that we're working on with Brooks County and with San Diego, and the chief and I are gonna get the sheriff, Duval County, on the phone, and we're gonna line out those concerns. He was able to work out the situation with Brooks County, and as we've got prepared right now, because our guys are gonna be doing a lot of the work, and the situation they're in is Brooks County is allowing our police department, the city of Alice, to take 70% of that agreement. Of course, that has to be approved by the Commissioners Court in Brooks County, but that's the way we're gonna have it presented, and we're gonna talk to the sheriff in Duval, Sheriff Romero, and hopefully get that lined out, have something similar. And then here, Sheriff Bueno has got a local ought to be prepared, and I think that the chief has looked at it and agrees with the terms. I think Mike might want to clean it up a little bit, but then that'll be presented. So hopefully we'll be able to present them all to you guys at the same time.
Okay, this is one of those, right, we should have done a while back before entering into agreements like that?
We did have one, ma'am?
Yeah, there's one in Jim Wells.
There is or is there not?
There is one
There
in
is.
Jim
One
Wells.
in place?
There is,
There's still
but
one.
when Sheriff Bueno assigned, I think it Edward Sanchez, and then he departed somewhere else. So then, I don't know how long he was out, 5-6 months, and then he returned back. So it's there, but it never got signed by council, and never got signed by the commissioners. And so that's where we're at right now.
But Mayor, you're all right. We should have these agreements in place already. And part of what on this list that I failed to put on there before is that working with our compliance officer and Ms. Tina Reyes on getting some of these things check marked so we can make sure that we have these covered all the time when they expire, when they don't. Some of these things are going to be or falls on each department, but we also need to have that on a top level to make sure that those are done. So that is work in progress that we're doing right now, work in process, and we've talked about it twice already. So, but they should be in place.
Thank you. So out of the 78 narcotics investigations, we arrested only 38? Is that correct, Chief?
There's others that Patrol Division does, on traffic stops and stuff, but this is the Narcotic Division, the two guys.
So it'd be correct to say 40 got away and 38 got arrested from this report here?
Yes, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know what you meant by getting away.
Well, like 40, there were 78 investigations, narcotic investigations,
Mm-hmm.
and we arrested 38. So 38 plus 40. Is 78.
And just to clarify something real quick, I think Chief had stated that the statistics of works in these officers performed with other agencies are reflected, is what he had stated, but they are not reflected in this status report.
I read
So-
it correctly.
Yeah.
It's this or not. I got it.
Well, I know, but the general public, I heard him say are reflected.
How many grams in a pound of marijuana?
430 something, isn't it, right?
Right off the bat, ma'am,
Don't know.
right off the bat, I'll be answering a question without having it in front of me.
Okay, thank you. Council, any questions? Mr. Molina? Mr. Chris? Mr. Burke? Ms. Gasko? Thank you. You can proceed, sir.
In 2017, 14,196 calls for service came through the department, and 126 juveniles were detained, 1,311 adults arrested, 345 crash, over 1,000 of damage on the accidents. One fatality happened on Business 281. Citations were 1983, and warnings were 1535. But also in that, there was 13,061 stops that officers made. For example, a traffic stop, but no citation was issued. Person walking, to identify those type of stops. So what I also did is I called the cities with about 25,000 population, and one was Portland PD, and their caseload was at about 20,000. Again, those are cases that are case numbers or burglaries, assault, etc. And Kingsville PD was at 21,000, and I also called San Juan PD was at 30,000 cases that they have on their record. The report, the annual vehicle action report, was already reported by Lieutenant Satish a few months ago. And during the calendar year of 2017, we had 2 vehicle crashes involving marked units. We have had 2 unmarked units that were involved in crashes. The first crash occurred February when a patrol Tahoe struck a fixed object. The second crash occurred in September when an unmarked truck struck the fixed object. A third crash occurred in November when an unmarked Tahoe was sideswiped on a public road. This is the only instance when a second party was involved. The citizen was cited for causing the crash. The last crash occurred in December where a marked Tahoe struck a fixed object. This report that's next, it's the annual use of force that also said, Lieutenant Sertuche gave this information a few months ago. The police department has had its use of force policy in effect since July 2013. For the calendar year of 2017, the department has had 51 use of force incidents. The use of force incidents are up by 11 for the calendar year of 2017. Calendar year 2016 had 40 incidents. All use of force incidents were within policy and did not need any further investigation. The Alice Police Department use of force policy does not need any modification. I do recommend that the entire department have a refresher course on the use of force and our departmental policies. Below is a force report per month and the difference between the type of force used. Now, I know Sergeant Perez, well, right now he's tied up with the new officers, but he's up on refresher courses in these types of incidents. The again, this report was also given by Lieutenant Sertuche on the profile, racial profile summary. Traffic stacks breakdown: Caucasian 60, African 6, Hispanic 1041, Asian 1, Native American 1, Mid-Eastern 0. The race was 107. The ethnically known prior to stop was 107 no, and 1,002 reverse. I'm sorry, 107 yes and 102 no. Searches conducted on vehicles were 32 yes and 1,077 no. Was search consented? 19 yes and 13 no. This report that I'm gonna do next is the Humane Department for the 2017. $273 dogs were entered into the facility, and 209 dogs were disposed of. Adopted 50, and picked up by owners was 14. The cats, they entered 140 and disposed of 115. They adopted 15 cats and the owners picked up 10. Any questions, Council?
Family violence falls under felony and misdemeanor cases?
It's a county charge.
A county
It
charge?
starts at a county charge, but it all depends what the grade of it, as far as if you know, you cut somebody or whatever, it's an aggravator, so it goes to the felony, to the DA's office.
Because according to the state reports, we have Alice PD and then Jim Wells County separated. I was wondering if you had the number for 2017 for just family violence? See where we stand.
It goes as far as on our numbers here. It says it starts with assault bodily injuries. You know, it starts at 104. Injury to a child 8. Assault public servant 11. Assault causing bodily injury 133. Injury to a child 1. Assault causing bodily injury to a family member 1. injury to the child elderly, 5, injury to a child elderly disabled, 9, assault causing bodily injury, 7, assault on a security officer, 5, assault on a public servant, 7, assault BI family member, 1, assault family member house impeding, 17. And that's what I have right here right now. Assault causing bodily injury, 104.
In addition to the 298?
That's probably, if that's a UCR that you're reading, that's probably these numbers included also.
That's a big jump, Chief, if it is, because it was 275 last year, and then it goes to 402, if that's correct in this report, which I pulled from the state. And it was high in 2010, 377, then 2013, 290, and then it started declining a little bit, and then it declined 2015, and then 2016, it skyrocketed, and then now it's like almost double. Okay. Council, any questions? Ms. Carrasco? No? Mr. Burke?
No.
No. Mr. Chris?
So, real quick, the only time that we've actually discharged a weapon as of 2017 was in a case with a canine that was running rampant?
Yes, we haven't discharged.
Okay.
The taser is what our officers are using, you know, that's what we're using more often is a taser.
Any other questions, Mr. Chris?
No, I was just curious about that.
Mr. Molina?
On the Criminal Investigation Division report, Chief, it says closed and cleared exceptionally. You know what that means? I'm just curious.
It exceptionally means, you know, you give an effort to try to solve it, and there's no evidence to solve the case. It stays on file. Now, if you come, you know, in a day or in a year, like for example, today there were some burglaries down on by the Anderson Park. Everything started about maybe 3 weeks ago. Well, today they identified the subject and they found property. Now, what our guys did is went through the property and they were able to find the victims. Okay, from 3 weeks ago or so. So, you know, if a case is on file and if you come, we can reopen it and then check it up again.
Thank you. I have no other questions.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if I may, just to clarify, that the interlocal agreements, I spoke to our city attorney just to make sure that there's an understanding that it's not illegal, we're not doing anything illegal by not having them, but we should have them. So for best practices principles, yes, we should have them in place so there's, so everybody's on the same page and we understand what everybody's role is. But operating without them is legal, but we should have them in
But
place.
exposure
Yes.
is what we try to prevent. Correct.
You're correct, is that if we don't have it, one thing that the locals do is that if our officers are there, then it can shift liability and whatnot. It assists in determining who's gonna get what money. If we don't have an interlocal, as we have been working with some jurisdictions now, with the federal jurisdiction, we get DAGs, we get money from the federal government for cases that we might be involved in the region, and we have to file an application, goes through the U.S. Marshal's Office, Department of Treasury. It's a pretty technical process. But like with Brooks County, who I don't believe we have a current interlocal with, that the sheriff there, who is Urbino Benny Martinez, Benny can go ahead and say, we've done this drug bust, and I'm gonna share my money out of my drug forfeiture fund with you. And as long as he puts it in his account or has his audit, he can transfer those funds.
So it becomes a verbal agreement between two people.
And
Correct.
yes, and
Yeah.
it's just better to have everything.
Transparent. Correct.
Better to have it all.
Mhm. Thank you. Council, any questions? Not at all. Okay. Chief, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor.
Agenda item 6, consider and act upon a resolution authorizing approval of offer to purchase tax sale property described as .212 acre more or less, being the northern portion of Lot 16, Block 1, Langford Addition, Farm Block 58, Alice Farm Block subdivision, as described in deed dated April 20th, 1962, in volume 211, page 29, deed records of Jim Wells County, Texas.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is a property that had back taxes owed on it, and there's a process that goes into that. And so it was posted for foreclosure, and went to public auction at the courthouse. Didn't get any, the amount of taxes owed were $49,000 of back taxes owed. Didn't get any offers there, so the entities take it back in trust. It becomes owned by all the entities collectively. And so from there, after that, there was an offer made for the property of $3,000. And so the school has accepted it already. All the entities have to accept the offer. And so our portion of that would end up being $248. It does go back on the tax rolls, or it's on the tax rolls, but hopefully it'll go back to somebody who's gonna be paying taxes on it. And so these come very often, and so that's what it is. It has to be approved by the governing body, each governing body. So after this, if you guys approve it, it'll go to the Water Authority and also to Jim Wells County for approval.
Council, any questions? Ms. Carrasco?
I just, I had a question because of as far as the city, that is just to get it back on the tax roll so that we can start receiving if we accept this. Now, we all know that we could possibly get maybe a better offer, or what's the process?
Yeah, well, and what happens is, once it gets taken over, it goes to public auction at the courthouse, and they actually sit there and offer it for sale to the highest bidder, and they start off at the $49,000 of the taxes. The property isn't worth that, so people are gonna say, I'm not gonna pay more than what it's worth. There is a current value here of $25,000. I don't know if that's necessarily based on an appraisal, it just may be based off a tax value on there. So from there, anybody can go make offers, and I don't know when this actually sold. Here it is, March 3rd, is when it sold. So the attorneys that work for us, Linebarger, handle this process. So now they're coming forward and saying, if we say no, yeah, then it'll sit, and somebody could come and make another offer at it. Any one of the entities could hold it up. And I don't think that in the past, these come before us, most people, we have always been like, let's get it sold and let's get somebody to, most of the time they're gonna fix it up. The value's gonna increase after that, and we start collecting taxes. It is a pretty big chunk off what the appraisal district said it's worth. But no one else went to go try to make an offer after that, after it was foreclosed on. So that's kind of where it is.
And it's been sitting there building up taxes for a good period of time.
To have $49,000 of back taxes, so that is quite a bit of tax.
Ms. Carrasco, any other questions? Mr. Burke?
No.
Mr. Chris? Mr. Molina?
1983.
83.
83.
Wow.
Okay, council, I'll entertain a motion at this time.
Mayor, I make a motion to authorize the approval of the offer to purchase the property described as 2.12 acres, more or less, being the northern portion of Lot 16, Block 1, Langford Addition, Farm Block 58, Alice Farm Block subdivision, as described in the deed, April 20, 1962.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion stands as stated. Agenda item, legal, is that good enough?
Yes.
Agenda item number 7, consider and act upon adopting a resolution authorizing the city manager to submit and certify a grant application number 2989904 titled Local Border Security Program to the Homeland Security Grants Division of the Governor's Office for funds available for the fiscal year of 2019 Local Border Security Program for overtime and operational funds for the Alice Police Department, designating the city manager as the city's authorized official and authorizing the city manager to apply for, to accept, to reject, to alter, or to terminate a grant on behalf of the city, providing assurance that in the event of loss or misuse of grant funds, the city will return all funds to the office of the governor.
Mayor, I'm going to have Lieutenant Hector Satuche and Barbara Reeves, the grant administrator, speak on this one.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The fiscal year 2019 Local Border Security Program funding cycle has opened and closes March 29th. This is a state-funded grant program that supports overtime and operational costs for increased patrol, which is above the steady state operations of the police department. We have, this program is a reimbursement grant program for actual overtime and operational costs. We currently participate with our fiscal year 2018 Border Star grant, which expires August 31st of this year. The department is planning a similar project for 2019, and using the state's formula and our current data, the proposed budget for this current application is $100,000 for overtime. The police department will use grant funds to enhance enforcement with regard to drug transportation, human smuggling, and gang activity. Also included in your packet is a list of other grants we've received through this program from 2010 to current times. We'd be happy to address any questions you have.
This is a grant that we currently have just always done, right?
Yes, ma'am.
For the last how many years have we?
We started in 2010.
2000.
Yes, ma'am.
And successfully received all the years
Yes, ma'am.
for overtime and investigations and all that good stuff. Okay. Council, any questions? Mr. Molina? Mr. Chris? Mr. Burke? Ms. Scott? No? Okay. I'll entertain a motion at this time.
Mayor, I make a motion to authorize city manager to submit and certify a grant application 2989904 for the border security program.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. No opposed. Motion stands as stated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 8, consider and act upon authorizing the interim city manager to negotiate a contract with an engineering firm to provide professional engineering services for the water line extension, Alice, Texas Department of Transportation Facility Project.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is the next step in the partnership between the City of Alice and the Texas Department of Transportation in awarding or allowing the city manager to negotiate with an engineering firm. The city did issue requests for qualifications in January. After staff did review, and the criteria for the review is in your packet under attachment 3 in the RFQ itself. That is the basis for which we graded the 6 that we did receive from these firms. The statements of qualifications were evaluated according to that criteria by myself, Mr. Salisbury, Esteban Guerra in engineering, as well as Barbara Reeves. The score sheet included in your packet shows that the average score for each firm, and it is rated from the highest to lowest in that. The evaluation committee recommends authorizing the city manager to negotiate a contract with LJA. And it was prior council action in the past, but just as a refresher, the map for exactly where that water line extension will go is also in your packet. It begins just west of Business 281 and extends to the TxDOT facility on 281.
And includes a pumping station, correct?
Yes, it will.
Council, any questions?
We currently do quite a bit of work with LJA, correct? We're doing the levy project or something like that with them now.
Yes.
Ms. Canasco, any questions?
No.
Mr. Burke?
No.
Mr. Rowland?
No.
Council has no questions. I'll entertain a motion at this time. Somebody other than Mr. Chris
I give it a pause and wait. All right, I guess I just do. Mayor, I make a motion that we authorize the interim city manager to negotiate a contract with an engineering firm to provide professional engineering services for the water line extension in Alice, Texas Department of Transportation Facility Project.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. Thank you, Mr. Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
You want to specify,
sorry.
you want to specify LJA?
Yes.
On there just for clarification?
To amend, I would like to say that the city manager, interim city manager negotiate the contract with engineering firm LJA for said project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion stands as stated.
Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item number 9, discuss, consider, and act upon an ordinance amending or repealing and replacing Chapter 74 Taxation, Article 6, Tax Abatement Ordinance number 2054.
I'm gonna, the city attorney's been working on this. Actually, we've all been kind of working on it for a while, but I'm gonna let the city attorney kind of discuss where this is coming from.
We've all been working on it, and the mayor's been working on it, and the EDC has been working on it. You guys recall that last fall, we adopted a resolution as per tax code here in Texas to present a tax abatement policy. Prior council had wanted to do so. It's a good idea for the city of Alice. However, due to some legalities, some issues in regards to the drafting, didn't quite get from point A to point B. The EDC put it together. At the discussions at that time, the city wanted to be able to work, and I think we have it in here in the draft ordinance, that we wanted to be able to work in conjunction with the county, and not have two separate policies. I think, you know, that's the principal reason to try to clean it up the way we're doing. And basically what we've done is, because we have an ordinance in place regarding tax abatement, we have to do it by ordinance and amend to basically replace those sections or Article 74 that deals with tax abatements in our ordinances, to just pick up what the county did, what we had approved by resolution, and drop it in its place. And that's what this ordinance pretty much does. And the attachment to it that was an addition to your packet, the attachment that we added is just, it's the tax abatement policy that the EDC presented as their guidelines that has been approved by the county, and was approved by the county last year. And as some of you probably already know, we did run into a situation where we had a business in town that wanted to have tax abatement at both levels. However, because we had our situation of having our ordinance, which was in contradiction of this tax abatement policy, and the ordinance not being able to be effectuated, we really couldn't do anything else. So this is just a way to clean it up, to fix it, and to move on down the road. So I can try to answer any questions you all got.
Mr. Molina, any questions?
Not yet.
Okay, Mr. Chris?
No.
Mr. Burke?
So it's just kind of a meshing together of two.
And actually, yes, we're going to use the ordinance that was drafted. There were some options to repeal and replace. That this I like the clean break cutoff or whatever, but in truth, this is probably the best way to do it, to dovetail what we want to do into what was already on the books.
Any other questions, Mr. Brown? Ms. Gaskell?
So by doing this, we're just cleaning, we're just cleaning it up a little bit to be more user-friendly or to our new businesses with the old tax abatement that was in place?
Gee,
I don't know. No, yes, no.
That what the last council, what I understand the last council was trying to do is to have a more wide-ranging business incentive plan. It was presented to them as a tax abatement plan. When it was presented, there were certain things that we didn't quite follow through with, and it just didn't quite jive with the way it was put together. And so what this does is first and foremost, I think the most important thing is this mimics what the county has. This was professionally prepared by a firm to do the tax abatement. If you recall, it was presented to council. I was in discussions with the attorneys that have put it together. It appears to fit what we need. And so they came to us to get approval from us, and then as soon as we approved it, then they took it to the county and approved it. And the next step the EDC would like is for this to be melded together with the county. However, we've had a problem of doing this because that ordinance is in place. And so, yes, by doing this, we will clean it up so that it matches what the county has. I guess if that answers your question. It took about 5 minutes.
This is that same presentation, right?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
It's the
It's
same
exact-
thing
exact
that
same
we did
presentation.
not change anything that we already heard.
Yes, Mayor, and that technically, we wouldn't necessarily have to do it by ordinance. The statute allows us to do it by resolution. We didn't enact any reinvestment zones. However, since we already have an ordinance in existence that has been interfering with the application of this tax abatement plan, we need to go ahead and amend the ordinance and just put these terms in as well.
Mr. Molina, any questions this time?
I'm still kind of fuzzy for me, I apologize. But is it, I keep seeing this $1 million valuation there. Is there something that I'm missing there, or?
Yeah, you're saying on the minimum standard?
Right.
$1 million, yeah, that's, from what I gathered on this, that is, it's page 5.
Top page 5.
I believe the reasoning for that, Mr. Molina, was because we're gonna give a tax break, so to speak. So we want some investment from the company to at least guarantee that they're at least gonna put in this much, and not like a smaller, and then we're literally giving it away, all our tax revenue.
Okay.
I believe that was the whole logic with that.
We have certain statutory requirements, Robert, and then in regards, I'm sorry, Mr. Molina, in regards to this, you can see that you can grant variances. That was one of the things that
Right.
worked into this plan, is that the council can go ahead and grant variances under this tax abatement policy. And one place where you can see that is page 6 of paragraph F. And it would be 74-3F. And you all can consider variances to the overall policy. And I know that Councilman Crisp has discussed if he would like to develop a plan that, while we have certain requirements that we have to hit with our tax abatement for the tax code, there are certain business incentives that can be applied through, like, waiving a permitting cost, things like that, that we could consider and resolve to do in the future that could affect smaller businesses more directly.
Basically, it's a living, breathing document, and that clause right here, section 74-135, allows council to take each individual situation that comes to us, and we can make
Where's
it.
that? I apologize.
So on page 5, the variances, that was pretty much that save me clause. Indeed, it's-
Page 6.
I'm sorry, page 6.
No?
Oh, no, on the new one, on the new one, on the new one, on the new one. The one that's right there. See, yeah, I'm gonna, you pull that up real quick. I'm gonna talk to this just real quick. That, you know, this is a plan, when we talked about it the first time when it was presented to council, I believe it was, end of October, around the 24th or so, that it's a great plan for huge business. The plan that we have in place, while labeled a tax abatement policy, was initially designed to be more of a business incentive plan. And by allowing this one to take its place, it opens the door for us to develop a business incentive plan for small and large business that can offer up more than just what this one is gonna do for us is true tax abatement. So, with the assistance of council, legal, we feel that, I personally feel like that we can move forward on something like this and then bring forward later on a true business incentive plan, which is what we initially tried to do back in January of last year. But just kind of missed a couple of marks on a couple of things and labeled what should have been labeled a business incentive plan as a tax abatement, and now we have to get a true tax abatement in place.
I will say that I worked with EDC from the very beginning with this, and they had two attorneys that literally dissected it, and this wasn't done overnight. This was a long process and took our city into consideration and the needs of our city. And I feel very confident that it's a great push forward for businesses coming to our town, that kind of gives them that opportunity to do business with us and have a incentive.
Yeah, and the one thing about this too is when we initiated ours in January of last year, it was to light a fire under the county and under the county and under the EDC, because it had been sitting in their hands for over a year. And it wasn't 2 weeks later that they bring in a professional and the process started. So we were not trying by no means at that time to push back against the county and the EDC. What we were trying to do was we were trying to give our businesses an opportunity and light a fire so that this could be created. So, yes.
And there is one addition or amendment that we need to make to it as presented. And that on page 9, it says section 7, we need to insert 74-7 period, and then section 7 administration, so that it matches up with our code of ordinances as to subsections. But the overall intention, and so everybody can understand, is to adopt that tax abatement plan that was presented, or those guidelines that were presented to the council last October as our ordinance. And as long as we have that understanding as we go and we present it, then we can, if we run into a typographical error or whatnot, we can make a correction for submission to the If you want to make a motion to accept the ordinance as presented with the addition.
Aforementioned.
The aforementioned addition on page 9. And the aforementioned addition being inserting the number 74-7 followed by a period in front of section 7.
Yeah, absolutely, council.
Mayor, I make a motion to accept the ordinance as presented with the aforementioned change.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion stands as stated.
Open for business again.
Again. Okay, agenda item number 10. Consider and act upon establishment, dissolution, division, and or reorganization of Alice boards, commissions, and committees, and appointments, reappointments, removal, and or term clarifications of appointments, vacancies, and our memberships of the City of Alice boards, commissions, and committees.
There, you see, Josh Flotis and Diana, City Clerk, gonna speak on this one.
Mayor and Council, as we had discussed in earlier months, we were working through very thick documents when it comes to our boards, committees, and committees, as well as drafting and finding a way to engage the public. In your packet, after the agenda item, you will find a flyer that's been created to spark interest in our community. We will be putting this on social media, on the website, and also on Channel 5. Second page of this is a revamp to the application. It's much simpler, easier to follow, one page, and as we circulate these through the city, we'll have the flyer on one side and the application on the back side. We also went through and cleaned up each individual commission, committee, and board, and you'll see the flow charts now for each commission, committee, and board. They will have the number of members, where there are vacancies, the terms, and on the bottom right-hand corner as a footnote, who the staff liaison is and how it was established. There is one application that has been received that is in your packet for consideration for the Public Recreation Board, and I'll let Mr. Flores speak on behalf of that applicant.
Yes, the application came in some time back. Linda attended one of our meetings. Mrs. Sines is very involved in the community and in sports and other activities. She has done work, as it states in her application, with the Boys and Girls Club and other community events for many years. And like I said, as a guest, she attended one of our meetings. She was very engaged. I believe she would be an excellent addition to this board. I know the board is also reaching out to other members of our community to come and apply, but at this time, this is the only application.
And there currently are 2 vacancies on the Public Recreation Board.
Council, any questions? Ms. Carrasco?
I'm just glad that we're addressing these. I've been wanting this for quite some time to be addressed, and I'm glad you've got it.
Yeah, this will be regularly, it'll be on our agenda pretty regularly, so we can make sure that we get these boards filled and have meetings, and staff has been very good getting all these things together, and it is a lot of work. A lot of work gets done back here, and I thank them for getting all these things together so quickly.
Mr. Burke, any
No.
questions? Mr. Christie?
Well, just, and this is a general one for this, is can you also email these applications out to us so we can maybe post them in the flyers and have them available? If
Absolutely.
anybody approaches us, please thank you.
Mr. Maloney, any questions?
I have no question.
Just kind of reviewing them quickly,
A lot of
I see the City of Alice Airport Committee, I don't think that was ever dissolved, and it's showing vacant all the way across.
The last time that the airport committee met, I believe was, I remember it was 2007. I can't remember. The members who were listed at that point, their terms have expired. In researching this particular committee, it was established with partnership with Jim Wells County. The appointments are mayor appointments with confirmation of the council, 5 from the city, 5 from the county that are appointed by the county judge with confirmation from the commission. I'm still going through that and looking and determining whether if any of the individuals who were seated prior to are still interested. And once the applications start to circulate, we'll certainly pass that information on to council.
Mayor and Council, if I may, it's just kind of a footnote on the Public Recreation Board. The charter does state that the members of that board do need to be on staggered terms, so that's something to take into consideration. The council can set their terms staggered, I believe proactively, John, is that possible? Or is that something they'll just need to set? Because they're 5-year terms, they're unstaggered. For instance, you have an appointment in 2016, would that first set have expired in 2016, I guess, is my question, and then renewed?
And again, it depends.
Mhm.
It depends on how, when the holder resigned, or whenever whenever they were removed from the commission, is then that could be,
Okay.
if they, do they fill in, if they could fill in the remainder of that person's term?
Yeah.
If they leave the board, they don't necessarily get a brand new term, they just fill in the remainder of that staggered term.
Okay.
The staggers are based upon they're based upon as the position is filled.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
No, it does, but I know in the beginning when it was reactivated in 2016, it wasn't set to staggered terms. Everybody just had, Dana, correct me if I'm wrong, but the term expiring in 2021.
And then what I would suggest, Josh,
2020.
is that if there's ones that you identify which ones are gonna be which staggers, you can
Mhm.
just have the council approve it.
Okay, that's why I just wanted to see if that's
Yes, sir.
something we can do.
That
So
would
we can get
probably-
that set, it's just kind of a housekeeping measure on that, because that's in the charter.
Because it is legally possible to just kind of, because when I went over these back in June, they all had their different little,
Yes.
They're all different.
Yeah,
they're
The
all
terms are
different.
Depending on how it is, that's why it took some time to read through it.
yeah.
Some of them, for example, there's a vacancy, you fill it till the term is, the vacancy, the term of the vacancy. What we have found, and the example that Josh is giving on the Public Recreation Board, is that we have 3 individuals who are all appointed pretty much at the same time, and their terms are expiring at the same time.
Right.
So we want to get it where it's operationally just rotating,
Mhm.
and as they're meeting, we're informing the council, we're filling the vacancies and proceeding forth. There are a couple of advisory boards that I was able to determine were established by council, but the criteria has not been adopted, so we're reviewing that with legal to bring back to the council.
I wonder if it would be possible just to have like a set, so to speak, standards for our boards and commissions, and then that way each of them, and I understand that they all have different roles, but on our part, you know, like where we approve like a certain set of standards for the boards, you know, so that they wouldn't, because some of these are old too. They're
Some-
like ancient.
Some of them are old, some of them have not met in a long period of time. Some of them, there's a couple that Josh and I were reviewing as to whether their existence is even still feasible at this time.
Right.
So we're continuing to work through that. What some cities do is they kind of have like an open enrollment period, and they very heavily, before the fiscal year, start searching for individuals through an application process. And then that gives council a lot of time to review those applicants and then appropriately start bringing them as the terms are expiring. So working on a master calendar is the next part of this.
And I guess that's that, with the master calendar, like a master plan for these,
Yes.
just so that we're all on the same page and easily understood and not have to dig up these 1970 documents that just don't really make sense in today's world anymore. You know, it's about progression and moving forward, not staying in the past. And I just feel that it would be easier for councils to come, that they know that this is what it is. You know, you must be a resident of Alice, Texas, and you must, you know, these different things, not if this, then that, and if not that, then this. And that's what I found when I was reading them. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you just say anybody and everybody, you know? So that's where I'm at with these. I need to, and I'm glad to gosh, staff did a great job. This looks really nice. Good job.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, looks really good.
The only action you all would need to consider is to approve,
Linda's application for the Public Recreation Board.
Council, I'll entertain a motion if nobody has any questions.
I'll move for the appointment of Linda G. Signs to the Public Recreation Board.
Okay, can I get a second? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion stands as stated. Thank you.
Thank you for putting this together.
Thank you,
We can move
staff,
forward.
that was awesome. Agenda item number 11, city council may enter into closed or executive session for the following matters. Texas Government Code, section 551.074, personnel-related matters, and Texas Government Code Section 551.071, consultation with attorney to review, deliberate, and discuss the position of interim city manager regarding the duties, employment, assignment, selection, appointment, hiring, and/or contracting with Michael Esparza for the position of interim city manager, establishing salary range and/or contractual terms. The time is now 7:55, and council, if nobody objects, will go into closed session. Thank you.